Here I'm watching this weird guy in the desert. Look at this guy, just a weird guy in the desert. And I'm trying to take advice from him. Boy, my life must be some kind of problem. Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. We're going to continue on our conversation about a voyage of self-discovery. Who am I? Why do I do the things that I do? And what do I really want out of life? Do I know who I am? Do I really know what I want out of life? Am I acting in my own best self-interest? And if I am, why am I not happy with my life? What's gone wrong? Here I'm watching this weird guy in the desert. Look at this guy, just a weird guy in the desert. And I'm trying to take advice from him. Boy, my life must be some kind of problem. And so I want us to think more and more deeply about ourselves and how we fit in with society, especially at this time. I'm shooting this in late April of 2020, when there is so much going on with the with the worldwide shutdown and the quarantine. We're all kind of social isolating, and we're alone and we're afraid. And now is a dark night of the soul, time to think about, who am I? Where am I going? Is this the life I want to live? And if it isn't the life that I want to live, how can I find that life? And of course, the fact that you're here watching this video and other videos like it on YouTube says to me, I hope you can hear it in that there is a search in your heart for something better, for something more. There must be more to life than this. I need to find it. I want to find it. So we're going to talk about that today. Now, just a very brief recap. In 1995, my life hit rock bottom. I started going to AA meetings of all bizarre things. Never been drunk, not once in my life. Never used an illegal drug. But in the 12 steps of AA, I found an answer to my compulsive, addictive personality. And so I started working the 12 steps. And we're not going to spend much time in those. But as I'm going through all this, and it was at this time, at the exact same time, that I was forced to live in a van for the very first time. So here I am, I'm going through a divorce. I'm completely rock bottom, miserable and unhappy. My life, I don't see how it can get any worse. And yet it did, of course. You say, as soon as you say my life can't be any worse, then it usually does get a little worse. And my life was just really bad. And I was just really unhappy with my life. So I kept asking myself, how did this happen? How did I completely miss the mark? And then the bizarre thing was, the longer I went through this, as difficult it was and painful, and it was very difficult and very painful, I started to love living in a van. All of a sudden, life made sense to me. I was free. That little 4-letter word, I was free. At the first of every month, I didn't pay a house bill. I didn't pay a rent. I didn't pay a house payment. I had all that money of my own. I kept it, and I felt more free and alive than I'd ever been before. I slept where I wanted to sleep. And so I kept going to my job. I kept going to my job for the next, that was in 95. I retired in 2006. For the next 11 years, I just went to my job, and instead of going home to an apartment at night, I went out and climbed in the van and went to sleep. For the first time in my life, I was happy. I was actually happy. And I was doing exactly the opposite of what society told me. In fact, society told me I was a homeless bum. I was a complete failure and loser. And yet here I was finally, for the first time in my life, happy. It just made no sense. And it was true, though. And the more I worked my way through the 12 steps, and the longer I lived in my van, the happier I got. Life finally was good, and there were happy moments. There were moments of happiness and peace. So today's theme is why following society's dictates may be the very worst thing you can do and will make you the most miserable you can be. So this is a quote from a man named Aldous Huxley, and in the 1930s, he wrote a dystopian novel called A Brave New World. And the idea of the Brave New World wasn't that there would be a totalitarian dictatorship, but that society would offer people happiness in the way of drugs and pleasure and peace and calm, and yet all they had to do was give up their own personal identities, basically. So it was a drug culture, and they used drugs and made people were just happy all the time. And people at that time just gladly went along with it and said, yeah, I'll gladly give up some individuality for being happy all the time. So And so this is a quote right out of his follow-up, Brave New World Revisited. Biologically speaking, man is a moderately gregarious, not a completely social animal. A creature more like a wolf, let us say, or an elephant than like a bee or an ant. And I think that's really important. Let me say there that you and I are very wolf-like or elephant-like. We live in packs, we live in herds, we live in groups. We are social animals. And yet at the same time, we're in this pack and this herd, we are very individualistic at the same time. So there, packs work out a system, herds work out a system whereby they maintain their individuality, but they also fit in the pack. And so that's what we're like. We're kind of pack animals. We have these big brains that we need to work together with each other, but we can't be too independent. We have to be independent, but we can't be too independent. We find this nice natural balance. A creature more like a wolf, let us say, or an elephant than like a bee or an ant. In their original form, human societies bore no resemblance to the hive or the ant heap. They were merely packs. And basically, that's true. Humans have been around, pre-humans have been around for about 2 million years, and in the various forms and evolution as we became more and more human. And fully humans, Homo sapien, you and I, the same brain power, just exactly like us, we've been around for maybe 250,000 years, 250,000 years. And all that time, we lived in packs between 10, 20, and 100 people. So we lived in these packs, and we lived really well. All the anthropology says that those ancient peoples, hunter-gatherers, were the original affluent society. That is a phrase actually used about them. The original affluent society. At any rate, that's how we used to live, and that is not how you and I live today. So basically what he's saying is we are by nature wolves living in packs. And that's, if you look back at hunter-gatherer tribes, that's not a bad analogy. But today's society, where you and I live in the United States of America in 2020, we are ants. We live like ants. Our society is organized like ants. And in fact, if you've ever seen an ant hill and a line leaving out of the ant hill to go to some food they've discovered, and if you probably had them in your house, a long line of streaming out and streaming back, and they divide them into lanes, a lane going out and a lane dividing the back. And you'll see them ants just scattering out everywhere, working. Ants are hard workers. That's you and I. That's the traffic. Look at a picture of interstates on the morning drive into town. A line of traffic going off to work. What happens in the evening? A line of ants driving home from work. We went off and we went off during the day and we worked, and then we would drove home, and then we just pretended we had a life and we enjoyed our lives. That's ants. We're ants. We're bees. We're drones in a hive. Not living our own individual lives, just living for society. And how did that happen? Well, you and I, from the moment we're born until the moment we die, we are subject to constant propaganda to make us good, productive citizens. Every moment of your life, your parents got indoctrinated and in this propaganda that they had to be good, productive citizens, and they had to follow and want the American dream, that they had to sacrifice today to live for their golden years. This is what your parents were taught. This is what your parents before them were taught, and what their parents before them were taught. From way back then, from our grandparents to our parents to you and I, and even further back, when we are born, we are taught to be good, productive citizens, to follow the American dream, to sacrifice the present for our golden years, to buy lots of stuff, to buy a bigger house, to get a lot more stuff and fill the house and fill that house so full that we get a storage unit, and then to buy a bigger house and to fill that house with more stuff, and just sacrifice the present. The golden years are going to be so golden and so wonderful. There's a pot of gold waiting for you at the end of this rainbow. Just wait for it, and then it'll be just amazing. Today isn't so great. I know you're just working all the time, and you keep saying to yourself, is this all there is to life? But the golden years will be so good. The American dream is so wonderful. Just be a good, productive citizen, follow the American dream, and the golden years will come true for you. Good, just go for it. That's what the propaganda that you and I were taught from the moment we were born. Then we hit school. Oh my goodness. When we turned 4, 5, 6, and we were shoved into a school, and the teacher started passing judgment on us. We were constantly judged as how smart we were and how well behaved we were and how polite we were. And if there was any nonconformity, bad things happened, didn't they? You got a bad grade. You had to take a note home to mom. Mom, I got a bad grade. I acted up in class. The teacher said she wanted me to take a nap, and I said, I don't want to take a nap. And so the teacher was mad at me, and she sent me outside, and I had to sleep over here alone. I had to go see the principal, and I got detention. And as you go through life, through your life in school, and then college, and then your first years and your first jobs, conformity to the rules was nonstop. Be a good, productive citizen, pass all the tests, conform, follow the American dream. You heard that every moment, every day of your life. Fortunately, you got summers off for a little while, and then a lot of times you went to camp. And what did you do there? More conformity, a lot less strict, a lot less rules, a lot more fun, but still rules, still conformity. Back to school. Okay, more rules, because now you're older and you can follow rules better. More rules, more conformity. This isn't a good grade. You didn't work hard enough for this grade. Let me send a note home to your parents, and we'll see if we can't give you more homework and get you to doing more and more, and have you doing really productive and really good. So you're going to be a good, productive citizen, because that's all we want from you, is being a good, productive citizen. And we want you to be a good ant in the hive. I mean, you want to go out there and make a lot of money out there, don't you? And then bring it a lot back and have it there in the house, and then get a bigger house and more stuff. You want to buy more stuff, don't you? Isn't that your goal, to always buy more stuff? That's what you want in life. You really do want that in life. Buy more stuff. Have a bigger house. Have more kids. Have more people admire you and think how great you are. Follow the American dream. Be a good, productive citizen. Get more stuff. That's what you and I heard every moment of our lives. And that's what we are. We're ants. You're a wolf that has been forced and conformed and molded to be an ant. And lo and behold, you're miserable. And you're not happy with your life. And you constantly think to yourself, there's got to be more to life than this. So you go and watch YouTube, and you see weird guys out in the desert who dress funny and talk funny and say these wild, weird things. And I'd like to be him. I'd like to live like that. No, that's not right. I've got to be a good, productive citizen. I'll work a lot more. I'll work a lot harder and work for more, and I'll make a lot more. I'll make a lot more people rich while I work away and slave away them, and out to the ant farm and back and out and back, just nonstop on that commute to make someone really, really rich, and I'll get the golden dream. The golden pot will be waiting for me at the end of the rainbow. Oh, it'll be so great. But now you're finding out that was a lie, and there is no golden pot at the end of the rainbow. There is no pension. And I found that out, and a lot of us are finding that out. And the American dream is just a great, big, enormous lie, and none of it's true. What if we said normal and healthy is if you are your optimum person? You have become all that you can be. You have become self-realized, as Abraham Maslow would have said. You are a fully self-realized human being. That's healthy, but do the two fit together? Can you be both? And the simple answer is no. It's impossible in this society, because you were born to be a wolf in a pack. And this society says you're going to be an ant or a bee in a hive. And those two are not the same. And being one means being a failure at the other. And that's why I was miserable. And that's why I started to become healthy and happy and fulfilled when I started to live like a wolf in a pack, in a van. And that's why I'm teaching you everything I'm teaching you. The voyage of self-discovery leads to a wolf living in a pack. It doesn't lead to an ant in an anthill. It won't lead that way. It'll lead you completely the opposite way of what you've been told to live. There was some part of me in 1995 when I hit my own bottom, said, I just haven't been willing to give up myself, to give up who I am and what I'm supposed to become. And so when I moved into a van and started going to the 12-step meetings, I was finally, for the very first time in my life, equipped to live fully out myself, to fully discover who I really was, how I should really live, and be who I really am. And until that moment, except as a very young man, there were times as a young man I knew who I was and what I wanted to be, and I stuffed them all. And my friends, that's happened to you too. As a young person, you knew who you were and what you wanted to be. Sometimes we lose that very early. At 5 or 6, when we go to college, school, it's really beaten, hammered out of us. There was a day when it was literally beaten out of you, and it's still beaten out of you in a figurative sense with notes to home and meetings with the teacher. And every parent-teacher conference is an effort to continue to beat out the wolf out of you and conform you to being an ant. And it's gone on the whole time. And some of you are really totally miserable because of it. And you're here. That's why you're listening to this video and all the other bizarre videos that I make. There's some of you that is sick of being an ant and is going to be a wolf. My friends, give in to the wolf. Give in to the wolf. Now, maybe you can't do it today. Maybe you can't do it tomorrow. Maybe you can't do it this year or next year or 5 years from now. Embrace the wolf in you today. You can do that. And I hope that you're ready. I hope that you're willing to hear the cry of your own heart. I want to be a wolf. I don't want to be an ant. Be the wolf, my friends. But it's not going to happen immediately for a lot of you. Maybe you can. Maybe you're in a position today where you can just leave everything and become the wolf. I had to keep working for 11 years, and I had to support my kids and pay the alimony and build up my retirement. And then when I had built up my retirement, when my last son turned 18 and moved out of the house, I could go live like a wolf. And I did. Immediately, I did. I went out and lived like a wolf to the very greatest degree I could. So I'm not saying you're going to have to drop everything and go live like a wolf today. You may not be able to. If the American dream is coming true for you, maybe you can be a part-time wolf and a part-time ant. As long as you follow your own dreams and become your own self, your own human being what you were made to be. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you are inspired to be the wolf and you will not be the ant. To the greatest degree possible today, you will be a wolf and not an ant. And only you know how much that can happen. So folks, hope we got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, give a good howl tonight. Ow! And I'll see you on the next video.